Hello, everyone. We'll start in just a few minutes, like 30 seconds. I see Nick in my gallery view. Okay, let's get started. Hello. Welcome to this open house from the Department of Black and Latino Studies. We've done so much good work this year, and we're excited to celebrate our progress with you. Our community of friends and collaborators is deep. I would like to thank the offices of the president, the provost, and the deans whose investment and advice have helped move us forward. Our colleagues in other departments and programs, the administrative staff who keep the college operational, and our friends at the Percy E. Sutton Seek program have been our great partners. We have the best students in the world, and they are curious, passionate, and so committed to using their intelligence and their education to build a better world. You will meet some of them today. They dream really big, and we love them for it. Today, I am really excited to share some amazing news. A donor who wants to remain anonymous just gave us $25,000 and to support our mission of BLS. This donor was inspired by our dreams and by our actions. I see this incredible generosity as encouragement to continue to dream big and to follow those dreams with action. Thank you very much, anonymous donor. The disciplines of Black and Latinx and Caribbean studies revel in the multiple ways and intersecting critical perspectives, how they inspire deep and innovative thinking. The department's interdisciplinary practices incorporate history, literature, the arts, sociology, economics, and political science methods to help students develop critical insights and solutions that are based in both qualitative and quantitative evidence. Our student-centered teaching and research positions Black and Latinx people, their creative and intellectual contributions as the center of knowledge production. We are proud of the way our work unequivocally engages social justice and anti-racism, because we know that ethics is crucial to education. The Black and Latino Studies Department prepares students to contribute to the world as teachers, writers, lawyers, as community organizers, psychologists, business executives, and as leaders. Everyone is welcome here, and we are very glad that you came today. I am very glad to introduce you to the interim dean of the Weissman School of Arts and Sciences, Dean Jessica Lang.
Thank you so much, Dr. Eversley, for that wonderful introduction and for this thrilling news, which I celebrate with you and with every member of the department, with faculty and students. It's really a tribute to the strength of this department and to the wonderful work that's being done and continues to be done here. I'm delighted to have been invited to add my own words of welcome and celebration to this open house. That's part of a larger effort to make the Black and Latino Studies Department, its history, the accomplishments and engagement of its students and faculty more visible, more tangible, and allowing our entire community to celebrate the department's past, its present, and its future. This department was founded 50 years ago in the midst of a sustained moment in our country's history in which the need for racial justice, equity, and educational opportunity was pressing and indeed long overdue. That moment is still with us. The establishment of academic disciplines and departments in the United States that recognize the global intellectual and cultural contributions of Black and Latinx people and communities has been among the most crucial advancements in higher education since this country's earliest charters defining undergraduate and professional education. It makes perfect sense to me that this extraordinary department of Black and Latino studies stands at the forefront of intellectual and social change, innovation, and progress. I am so deeply grateful to the faculty of this department for their commitment to research and teaching, and more than that, to their willingness to lead the way. And I am also so grateful and want to recognize the students of this department for their engagement, their commitment, their investment. I second what Professor Eversley said earlier. We love our students and we think of you as the future. I'm delighted to welcome you all to this open house, which rightly celebrates the transformative impact of Black and Latino studies on our school, our college, and beyond. So welcome, everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before we get started, I wanted to take just a quick moment to thank Dr. Eversley also for her hard work and dedication to the department, and also her leadership at a time that is very difficult for so many. So thank you on behalf of all of us. So thank you all for joining us at the Black and Latino Studies Open House. We're thrilled that so many of you are joining here today. I'm Dr. Bernard Carreño, Associate Professor of Black and Latino Studies, but better known among the students as Dr. B. Before we get started with introductions, I just want to let you all know that you can feel free to use the chat box to send your questions throughout the event, so we can try our best to get those answered during the Q&A segment. Great. Now I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce my fantastic colleagues. Among our department's full-time faculty, we have Associate Professor Dr. Shambe Miles, who is among us here. Our most recently hired full-time lecturers, Dr. Karanja Carroll and Dr. Rojo Robles, who is also here. Our in-house adjuncts include Amir Amadi, Zamir Bendan, Donia Leon, Tisdale Melaku, Isa Ulen Richardson, Rebecca Solois, and Joseph Schloss, and 21 affiliated faculty members from the departments of Communications, Modern Languages, History, Journalism, English, Political Science, Sociology, and Anthropology. Thank you all. And last but not least, our longest standing member of the department, Dr. Arthur Lewin, who has been teaching for Black and Latino Studies since 1979. Dr. Lewin teaches many courses, among which two of his most popular are Black Economic Development and Black Americans and Mass Media. His two most popular books are Africa is Not a Country, It's a Continent, and his most recent book, The End of Black Studies. On behalf of the department, Dr. Lewin, we thank you so very much for your continued service to all of us, the faculty, as well as the students. Please share with us your archival work on the 50th anniversary of Black and Latino Studies alongside our students, Malachi and Andrea.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I was muted. Okay, the 50th anniversary of the Black and Latino Studies Department. Wow, that's hard to believe. Now, I arrived in our 10th year, and I was absolutely the new kid on the block. And now I'm the elder of the village. I mean, the department. I never thought about 40 years ahead into the future. My, how the world has changed. But wait a minute, Dean Lang, it looks like the more things change, the more they stay the same. Just think, believe it or not, some of you here today will be here 40 years from now. What will the world be then? Now, I know we're going to be here because one important step to ensure that we, the village, I mean the department, will be here as long as there's a Baruch College, is that after 50 long years without a major, we will finally have one. Thanks to the work of Dr. Shelley Eversley and the members of the staff and the students who work so diligently to achieve this landmark accomplishment. However, we would not have made it this far without the seeds planted by Dr. Harrison Tucker, Dr. Robert Martinez. And these seeds were further developed by an array of scholars and activists in the Black community and the Latino communities. People like Hank Wilson, Marta Moreno Vega, Dr. David Traverso, Charles West, and a host of others. Anyway, that brings us to today. And this year's, of all the crop of students we've been nurturing, the outstanding students, the two top outstanding students in the Black and Latino Studies Department of Baruch College of the City University. It's my distinct honor to introduce to you Malachi Davidson and Andrea Gonzalez. Let's hear it for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Arthur. Malachi and Andrea, you are so lucky because President Wu has just arrived. And before you make your presentation, I would like to introduce our president, President David Wu, who has been very, very supportive of BLS, and he wanted to drop in the middle of his crazy busy schedule to say hello. President Wu.
Thank you, Professor Eversley, and I have the fortune to catch a glimpse of Professor Arthur Lewin's very eloquent speech, and is never good to follow someone like that. But as Professor Eversley said, it is my great pleasure to be with you this afternoon to celebrate the 50-year anniversary of the BLS program at Baruch. Is something certainly very exciting, and we are very proud of the history of the program at Baruch. And as you know, I have recently shot a video to celebrate the Black History Month, and also introduce the first president of Baruch College, and Dr. Weaver, and who is the first president of Baruch College, and also a first African American to be on a presidential cabinet. So Baruch does have a very proud history in the history of the Black and Latino studies, and also the really many of the struggle, if you will, and trying to essentially in this environment of a better reckoning of the social justice and the structural inequality in our society. And I think it's so important that we have scholars and students like yourself that not only help us to have a deeper understanding of these issues in our environment, but also equip our students with the skill set and the tool for real social change. And so that's something I think is what education is all about, and something we're very proud of at Baruch, that we're able to play a part of that history here. So I can only stop by briefly, but I'll stay a little bit and listening to the students and so on. Thank you so much for including me.
Thank you so much, President Wu. Thank you for making time, especially with my last minute invitation. We really appreciate you making the room in your schedule to drop in and say hello. So thank you very much, and we appreciate your support and your friendship. And I can't wait for you to see this project by our inaugural Baruch scholars, BLS Baruch scholars, Malachi Davidson and Andrea Gonzalez. Take it away, the floor is yours.
Hello. Good morning to everybody. Well, good afternoon. I hope that everybody's day is going well. And just to give a few words before we present this video, when Andrea and I were presented with the opportunity to create a piece of art that would really showcase the history of BLS here at Baruch College, we thought that it was really important to showcase the role that students have played in the continuation and the survival of this field of study, and the role that we play now currently as our study begins to get our major and we begin to push forward into the future. We know that throughout the history of this country, throughout many of the social movements that was happening, students were often located at the crux of those movements. And it is really important that we showcase just how even 40, 50, 60 years ago, the students have been a huge part of the movements, and we have that same role now. And we believe that the BLS department is an opportunity for us to really learn how to put those tools into play, how to learn from the past movements of what's been going on, and how to really reinforce and reinvigorate the power within the movements that we so desperately need today. So without further ado, we're going to present this video that Andrea and I put together. I hope that you enjoy it. Well, here we go.
Black and Latinx studies programs across the country were born out of protest and are sustained by the voices and power of Black and Latinx youth. CUNY protests began in 1969 with CCNY students on the front lines. These students took to the streets demanding that their school committed itself to the study and struggle of colonized peoples on an international level. And the legacy of these activists and organizers continues to inspire the CUNY students of today.
Don't show up for free CUNY. No, don't just show up for free CUNY. Get the cops out of the MTA. Get the gentrifiers out of your neighborhood. Advocate for the people in the street, and the people in the street will advocate for you.
The revolution won't be televised. I advise, better be prepared for when that day arrives. No reason for alarm unless you live without care. Can't ignore all the signs and claim to be unaware.
La pasión vive en el corazón de cada estudiante. Desde el principio ha estado ahí esperándote. Si buscas una chispa, solo mira hacia dentro. Es un legado ahí desde tu nacimiento. El cambio que deseas solo se realizará con el esfuerzo unido de la comunidad.
And even then, the things you want are never guaranteed. Remember, those enslaved fought long and hard to be freed. You say you're sick of living in a world fueled by wrong. We hope you are committed, have the will to remain strong.
Porque cuando la marea te empuja y quieren que te ahogues, es el momento que hay que mantener el enfoque. Necesitas la fuerza para seguir alcanzando, y se encuentran en ese movimiento uno entre otros que siguen trabajando. Nosotros los que luchamos lo hacemos por todos, porque el pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
Our destinies are in our hand. We have control of its mold. Never too fond of taking chances, but I refuse to fold. There's not a fiber in my body that will ever submit. My eyes are focused on the goal in constant pursuit of it. But with your hand in mine, I'm confident in due time that the freedom that we chase could be attained, and these generational curses will cease to remain.
Así que levanta la voz tan fuerte como es necesario.
Change the world with your actions, change the world with your words.
Thank you so much, Malachi and Andrea. I hope that if you needed inspiration today, you have just gotten a surge. I'd like to now invite our students, Leba and Tiona, to share with us their activist work and also their leadership, including how this moment has impacted the need for a major in Black and Latino studies. And they'll also share with us our current proposal for a major in the department. Tiona?
Thank you, Dr. B. Hello, friends, colleagues, esteemed faculty and staff. My name is Tiana Pagan. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I reside on Munsey Lenape land. And I'm a graduating senior from Baruch through the Macaulay Honors Program. And I would like to start by saying thank you to the Department of Black and Latinx Studies for not only hosting this momentous event, but for also giving me the platform to speak here this afternoon. Black people are combating a plethora of pandemics simultaneously. Between COVID-19, racism, police brutality, genocide, etc., we can't seem to catch a break. Despite us being told to quarantine to stay safe from this unprecedented global illness, we are still dying at disproportionately higher rates than our white counterparts. As many of you know, last year, I released an open letter to Baruch's administration urging them to truly recognize us as a people and as a community while demanding that they give us certain things that will benefit us in the long run. Some of those things included, but were not limited to, the ceasing of any partnership or ties with the New York City Police Department, a new generation of mental health and counseling resources provided exclusively for Black students to assist in properly coping with the present circumstances, and additionally for there to be more BIPOC mental health professionals hired at Baruch, to not only hire more Black educators, but to tenure those who are qualified. And the reason we are all gathered here today, to create a Black Studies major program taught by Black educators. On June 2nd, 2020, about a week after George Floyd was publicly slain, this letter accompanied by a petition with almost 400 signatures and testimonies, a series of informative videos, was made public and caused a ripple effect, not only through Baruch, but throughout CUNY as a whole. While my peers were on the front lines organizing marches and protests to avenge those taken from us too soon, student leaders like myself and those on the call were on the digital front lines, organizing feverishly via technology that our predecessors did not have access to. In the past 8 months, I have been speaking, listening, coordinating, planning, manifesting, working, and just trying my best to just live. Most of all, I've learned so much. We have been trained to think that students are at the bottom of the hierarchical totem pole that is higher education. That is a fallacy. If last year's historic resurgence of a new version of the civil rights movement wasn't proof enough, take my story for example. If I'm being transparent with you all, I have not yet watched all 8 minutes and 46 seconds of George Floyd's murder. It is not normal to witness the execution of Black and brown folks and go back to your daily routine. And yet it is more common for us to recite names of the fallen rather than the last time we had a Black educator or read a book by a Black author that wasn't capitalizing off of Black trauma. James Baldwin once said, "To be a Negro in this country and to be relatively conscious is to be in a rage almost all the time." This is true more so now than ever. Even in the midst of a pandemic, Black and brown folks still find themselves being disproportionately slain by the police. I didn't want to address you all with reminders of obstacles we consistently have to overcome, but to emphasize the power and urgency that we all have. While Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd were the trinity that tipped the scale of our collective rage and disgust with how this country historically operates, the aftermath of their murders was only a microcosm of the power we truly have as a people to evoke change once and for all. As an institution, a part of a larger network of schools aimed at setting students up to be successful and competitive in the real world, the fact that Baruch does not have a Black and Latinx Studies major program is a problem in 2021. Thankfully, as a result of our persistence and passion for justice, the gears are turning and we are closer than we've ever been. In closing, I would just like to say that we are currently at the precipice of a new day and age in America. Change begins with us right here, right now. Student mobilization and continuing to apply pressure is our best course of action moving forward. Until these institutions get with the program, we must continue to educate ourselves and get into leadership positions. We must go out and vote, and we must use our voices to shake the brittle and unjust foundation that this country was built upon. So just like the kinks and coils of my hair that runs generations deep, I foresee a future where my children can rejoice in their melanin, knowing that they live in a society that embraces them for it and not targets them. Our great president, Barack Obama, once said, "Change will not come if we wait for some other person or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for, and we are the change that we seek." Thank you.
So it is important to understand, first of all, thank you, Tiona, for that beautiful and very moving presentation. Dr. Eversley, did you want to say something there?
No, I just was thinking that Liba was going to say something.
Yes, I was just going to introduce her. Okay.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, Liba.
Sorry, wouldn't unmute. I couldn't mute for a second. Hey everyone, my name is Liba Hussain, and my pronouns are also she, hers, and hers, and I'm a current sophomore involved in the Black and Latinx Committee for Student Government here at Baruch. And after Tiana's open letter was launched, I, as well as many of my peers, were extremely inspired to see another student just like us take on the administration and hold them accountable for refusing to speak on both George Floyd's murder as well as the racial unrest that was going on during the country at the time. I, as well as Oswaldo over here, actually contacted our VP of Academic Affairs, Taji Sanders, to essentially create a committee within the student government that would solely focus on the Black and Latinx major that was mentioned in the letter. From there on out, we found ourselves sending emails, scheduling meetings with different professors and faculty, as well as working alongside Tiana, and essentially expressing our demand for the major through a student's perspective. I truly believe that if it weren't for this open letter, we wouldn't even be having this open house in the first place. But I'm really glad that we are having this conversation, as I think it's one that's long overdue. With the launch of the Latinx major, I hope to see more opportunities opening up for both the Black students and faculty here at Baruch. And I believe that through the implementation of the major, we'll be able to kind of divert away from the sole image of being just a business school and move forward into a college that serves all types of education for students that come from any racial or ethnic background.
Thank you, Liba. We're happy to have you here joining us as part of the fight in the department. So it's important to mention that the process of approval for the new major that is being planned and really actively being worked on takes about 1.5 to 2 years because of the various stages of approvals. The processes include stages at the Weissman School of Arts and Sciences, the college, CUNY Central, and state legislator. So we'll hear from our other student now, Taji, as he introduces recommendations for an interim major and challenges of an ad hoc major. He'll also be joined by Sandra Kuprat and Sonia Wahab from the Weissman Dean's office, who will tell us about their roles and how they can assist throughout the process of the interim major. Taji?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Sorry, my mic was muted. Hello, I'm Taji Sanders. I'm currently the VP of Academic Affairs, and I'm happy to be here. I completely agree with the previous statements made by Liba. Tiana's letter was an inspiration, and it really did push me and a group of my peers like Oswaldo, Liba, Miriam, and many others to come together. And with the help of Dr. Eversley and many other members of faculty that can't be named, we came together to try and push for this minor and major. Currently, because as previously mentioned, that we suggest to do an actual ad hoc application because of this long process. Currently, right now, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Right now, we actually suggest this list of sequence of courses. I believe Dr. Eversley, you put it in the chat for them to see. Currently, right now, you recommend you going through the Black and Latino Studies 1003 of expressions of racism, and going through, of course, the required English courses, 2100 and 2150 that many have to do. And then we have an actual very detailed list of electives that actually came together because many faculty decided from across many departments came together, English, BLS, and many others, to allow us to take these courses, to make them cross-functional. It was a lot of work that I've seen, and I want to just give I guess kudos, just props, anything you want to say to the faculty that really did come together from across all departments, and it is definitely a team effort to get this done. There is 2 capstone courses after these electives that you can take as well, which is currently a seminar that is going on, given for this year. I mean, for not this year, but next semester. The BLS and Latin LTS 4900, and then also we have one that is for Latin America and Caribbean Studies for the 4901. in order to even take the Zoom courses, you have to take you guys can see this ad hoc application, correct? Yes? Cool.
Yes,
You have to take the ad hoc application, and currently we would fill this out, and you would have an approval process where you would have to attend an ad hoc workshop by Dr. Sandra Kuprat. This is still correct, I believe. And then after that, you would fill out this process, and then sorry. As you can see,
what, I could talk about that when you're ready. I could go through.
yes,
that.
yes, please do. Thank you very much.
Are you finished doing your thing?
No, actually, I feel like this is a very good opportunity to for if anyone before I forget, for anyone to have any questions for you to ask as well, and also you to explain this part.
Sure. All right. So, hi everybody. My name is Sandy Kuprat, and I just want to say that I am thrilled about this ad hoc major and using Black and Latino studies as one of the major departments for ad hoc major proposals. So just like everything, when you're creating your own major, there are rules that go along with it. And actually, you know what? Hold on a second. So I am going to ask you to maybe pull that down a little bit. So these are some of the rules. So if you just Google Baruch ad hoc major, you can pull up the documents. You could read more about the ad hoc major. We even have a recorded session where you could learn about the ad hoc major and how to create one too. After you've kind of read the materials, you meet with me a couple of times, and we try and figure out what the themes and the patterns are. We brainstorm titles, and then we are able to come up with some really cool ad hoc major titles. So just for example, I'm going to actually stop sharing first. Stop your sharing for a second. I'm going to share my thing here. And so what students typically do is they come up with their own major. So these are just some ones in the past that we have had that have been pretty cool. So more recently, we had someone who created a, it was this one here, hang on. Yes, this is it. So she created diversity and inclusion studies that included Black and Latino studies and some communication courses and some things about persuasion and communication. Someone else created in the past something called African diaspora studies. More recently, we had someone who created something called Latino mental health. So by combining 2 Weissman departments with 3 courses at the 3,000 level or higher, and a line of study that has 33 credits, you too can create an ad hoc major. So I think this is just one step towards really promoting the coursework and the study and the knowledge that needs to get out there in the world. So as a Baruch staff member, as a CURB member at Baruch College, I'm thrilled to be a part of this. But just know that I am here to help you, support you as you create your Black and Latino studies focused ad hoc majors. And so these are just some examples. The creativity that goes into creating these types of studies also is endless. And so I have seen a million different machinations where they have used the Black and Latino studies. And so I am looking forward to seeing the creativity that comes out of this department and how those come forth in creating your own lines of studies. And that's all I have.
If I could just add one more bit to that. Hi, this is Sonia Wahab from the Weissman Associate Dean's Office. The slide that Taji had up earlier listing the recommended sequence of courses for a Black and Latino studies concentration is a little bit different than what Sandy Kuprat was just mentioning. She was kind of going over the rules for a traditional ad hoc major. A student would put together himself or herself with faculty advisors from 2 different liberal arts department, right? That's the traditional route. In anticipation of the upcoming Black and Latino Studies major, the department worked, with you guys as students, faculty in other departments, and the curriculum committee for Weissman to come up with the structure you see in front of you here, to really focus on Black and Latino studies. It's an interdisciplinary kind of structure, but it's really honing in on Black and Latino studies as opposed to the traditional route of taking courses in Black and Latino studies and psychology, or Black and Latino studies and marketing, things like that. That's still an option, but this really gives students the opportunity to delve deeper before the major is in place. And it includes a list of courses that are offered strictly in the department, along with cross-listed courses, again, to pull in that interdisciplinary nature of the field of study. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity for students. This is going to be, it's kind of online now. It's going to be officially listed in the bulletin as of fall 2021. But students, you don't have to wait till fall 2021. This is something that you can start working on now if you're interested in working with faculty to get an ad hoc major approved as your field of study for your degree.
Thank you, Sonia and Sandy. I'd like to also point out that the recommended sequence is in the chat and also posted on the Black and Latino Studies community page, where you can find this information as well. Just to keep the ball moving here, I'm going to call now Osvaldo Garcia, who's going to share some of his thoughts on the future of Black and Latino studies, inclusive of study abroad plans, which is very exciting, and opportunities. Sandy, we're going to call upon you one more time to jump in this segment of the conversation as well to tell us about opportunities that currently exist and what lies ahead for us in the future. Osvaldo?
Thank you so much for that introduction. I'm going to share a few slides with everybody, just discussing the future of BLS in terms of study abroad opportunities and honors programs. So does everybody see the slides?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, perfect. So hi everyone, my name is Osvaldo Garcia, and we will now talk about different opportunities at Baruch that BLS majors can take advantage of. So just looking through these opportunities, there are opportunities for studying abroad, opportunities for fellowships, and opportunities for honors programs, and using these opportunities to further kind of converge the curriculum of BLS and to create your own experience surrounding it. So let's first touch on studying abroad. I'm sorry, let's stop sharing. Hello?
Yes, we're here.
Oh, okay, sorry, for all of a sudden it stopped sharing. I apologize.
That's okay.
So yeah, so first we're going to touch upon studying abroad opportunities that will be provided for BLS students. So I hope in the future that we could provide, so there used to be study abroad opportunities in Cuba, and there are study abroad opportunities in Brazil and Ghana as well. So this will provide BLS majors with the opportunity to create their own experience, to learn about the cultures more in depth, the Latino culture, Hispanic culture, and overall just the different cultures that they're going to be learning. In the Black culture, they're going to be learning inside the BLS major. And I feel like this will help broaden their perspectives as well. Isla, which is also going to be joining us as well when it comes to creating these study abroad opportunities for students. And we are working closely, BLS is working closely alongside Isla to create this great opportunity for students as well. So these are just the contacts for the study abroad office. So Dr. Richard Mitten, and of course, Chris Ting, in which you could contact them, email them, and just ask any questions about studying abroad. And there also are a few deadlines. So the October 1st deadline, if you want to study abroad in the January intermission or the spring semester, and then the March 15 to study abroad during the summer session, fall, or academic year.
Thank you, Osvaldo. Very exciting.
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah. There also are the fellowship office, and the goal is to assist students in applying to prestigious fellowships, exploring opportunities that fit your career goals, essay and application guidance. And some of these fellowship examples include study abroad funding, funding research initiatives, funding for graduate school, and civic engagement projects. And the contact for this is Valeria Hymas, and she's like the director of this office. And you could also email her at the fellowship's email and at the number as well. And there's also one specific fellowship, which is the Fulbright Fellowship, and that gives students the opportunity to fund research initiatives abroad. And this could be really flexible with the BLS curriculum in terms of integrating that with research that students would like to do in other nations, when speaking, when just researching Latin culture and overall exploring that as well. Also, there's going to be an Isla in-depth event, and that's going to be on February 25th. So it's going to deeply discuss the Fulbright Fellowship. It's going to discuss aspects of study abroad as well, and the opportunities that students can be provided with. There's also finally the honors program, and the honors program, there's two programs that students can apply to. So the Inquiry Scholars, honors program focusing on research initiatives or creative inquiry within a major. This research again could surround Black and Latino studies and just again doing deep research around there. And also the Provost Scholars, and it's available for students enrolled in Baruch, and they must complete a thesis in a discipline. So overall, again, just maybe creating a thesis surrounding BLS, and again, networking to alumni as well. And their contacts are Jody Weisman and Harmony Osea. So yeah, and that's their email and their phone number right there as well. And now I think I'm done with my side of the presentation. Is there anything else you would like to add, Ms. Caprat?
No, I think the only thing that I want to also encourage, we are having the Diversity Career Expo next Friday. So I am encouraging students to come to that. So students are coming, they love Baruch because of our diverse student body. And so I just put something in the chat area. So feel free to come to that event. We also I also recommend for all BLS majors and all ad hoc majors as well, or just all majors in general, to come check out the programs that we have at the Star Center as a way to help support you achieve your career goals where you are making a difference to Black and Brown communities. So I do recommend come and see us, come to our events. And I just put some of those into, did I not put them in? I did not put them in the chat area. I put them, send them to somebody by accident. Hold on a second. I'm going to put them in the chat area to everybody. And so that this way you too can come to the Diversity Career Expo and come see some of our other events. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And that I'm also done with my presentation as well.
Thank you so much, Osvaldo and Sandy. I'm going to point us now to Miriam, who's one of our other fabulous students as well, who's going to keep you thinking about BLS in terms of building relationships with alumni, potential career choices in the field, and opportunities as well as internship futures. Miriam?
So much, Dr. Bernard. And hello, everyone. I want to say thank you guys so much for being present today, especially all the students. This is such a monumental time, not just for Baruch, but just history in general. So I know you guys may have a few questions as to why you should consider a BLS major. We're pretty much going to use this time to focus on that, to address any questions or concerns that you guys may have. So the first question that I wrote down here are what are the possible career opportunities from a BLS major? As students, we're constantly seeking opportunities to progress professionally and personally, but we also are concerned about where are our growth opportunities. So one of the questions are, what are the possible career opportunities for someone seeking a major in a BLS department? And I'm going to leave the opportunity for any of the panelists to address that question.
Miriam, I was just thinking, just for the sake of time, why don't you just read all of your questions and then we can maybe answer more than one at the same time.
Got it. Okay. And then the following question is, how can the learnings from a BLS major carry into a successful career path, whether that be professionally or personally? And then also, what are the beneficial, well, not beneficial, but what are the aspects that you can consider that can come from pursuing a BLS major, and how can that be transferable in the long term?
Cool. Can I try answering first? I think that all of the faculty, not just the core faculty inside of BLS, but also of the 21 faculty members who are in this room, many of them are in the Zoom room, and all the different disciplines, they probably can also add to the long list of possibilities. The first thing to remember about Black and Latino studies is that it's an interdisciplinary program. And that's a little bit different from most traditional academic departments that maybe you only study one discipline and one sort of method of approaching a problem. And that, in my view, at least one of the benefits of thinking about interdisciplinary work is it gives you the flexibility to be able to think about a problem, a critical question, or even a profession from multiple perspectives. Using multiple lenses means that you have the chance to be able to think about a problem and a solution differently with the kind of innovation and responsiveness and flexibility that you probably need in moments, especially like the moments we're in now. So that's really cool. One thing that BLS also does in its interdisciplinary practice is it encourages people to think about ideas and solutions and evidence that is not just qualitative, like storytelling and abstract ideas, but also quantitative in terms of numbers and data. Being able to practice reasoning both quantitatively and qualitatively prepares you really well for law school, graduate school, careers in community organizing. You can then go off to be a teacher. You could go off to be a diplomat, because having that range of experience. And of course, we know now that diversity is a hot button topic, and being able to have the language, and you all told me this, right? When you all met with us in the committee, you all said to us, we want to be able to have the language to talk about race and racism and equity and equality. And in courses that center Black and Latino studies and Caribbean studies, makes it so the students have a real fluency in being able to talk about complexity in that way. The last thing I'll say is that with a BLS major, students have the chance to focus. Let's say if you wanted to do Latino studies, Latin American studies, there are all these great people across the college, not just inside of BLS, but also affiliated faculty in BLS that will, Professor Rojo Robles, for instance, and Professor Rojo Robles, for instance, will take your papers in Spanish or in English, which gives students who are speaking Spanish a chance to practice writing Spanish. There are advanced classes in Spanish literature in the Modern Language and Comparative Lit program. Inside of political science and history, there's ways to do deep dives into thinking about Latin American history and culture and politics, and then integrating that with the sort of diversity that comes with interdisciplinary work in BLS makes it perfect for you to just go on and become a professor or a foreign service person, or to move into different kinds of forms of legal studies. How about that? How'd I do?
Still wonderful. Yeah. Thank you so much, Shelley, for addressing those questions. I think it's really important because often as students, we think that we just have to go into one career path, and that's pretty much the only step for success. And I think, keeping an open mind and being subjected to just being aware of culturally what's important and the change that you want to see and how that can be pivotal and pushing not only the success of this department, but just future things that we want to see in our environment, whether that be in marketing, finance. It's important to show that you have an interest in this path. But
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's also worth saying, just to repeat again, that people can also minor in BLS. And what's so cool about the minors at Baruch is it's easy to do. And so even if you decided that you were a finance major, or if you were really, your whole life, you knew you were going to be a history major, you could still minor in BLS and really sort of specialize your discipline in thinking about communications or history or English. And that's kind of cool. It gives you the flexibility. And a minor and the minor form, like the major, like the ad hoc major, they're all on our community site. And I'll post that again for you here. So you could just download them there. You can also find them through the Dean's office.
Thank you so much, Dr. Eversley. Miriam,
Sure.
did you have any final thoughts on that?
That was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Because of our time and are moving very close towards the end of our time together today, I'm going to field out a few questions before I read some of the upcoming announcements and events that the department will be hosting. Let me start with the first question for, I guess, Sandy and Dr. Eversley. Will there be study abroad opportunities to the Caribbean?
That is outside my understanding. So I'm gonna defer to Dr. Eversley.
That is a fantasy. And, I started with our welcome. I said, one thing that we do is we dream big. And that is a dream. The University of West Indies, for instance, is technically a sister school to the City University of New York. So it's just a question of how we organize it and that we organize it. And once this proposal for the major is off campus and in the hands of CUNY Central, that is the next goal, to try to formalize some of those relationships. I'm going to ask Osvaldo and Miriam if you can stop sharing your screen so we can see some more of these gorgeous faces. Yay, thank you.
That's a great segue into the next question about where we are on the approval process for the formal major.
Well, the formal major is a very long document. It's a document that not only includes courses and faculty, and I will say to you that some of the faculty in this room, including faculty in other departments, have signed on to be affiliated faculty with BLS, and that just makes our department stronger when we go up for review. We are in the very early stages of this. We have to put together a financial document. We have to put together letters of recommendation, not just from within the CUNY system, but outside of the CUNY system. So I'm waiting for those letters to come back, and then we will send it off. The plan is to send it off in April. And we'd like to send it off in April because there's a calendar that CUNY Central keeps for meetings, and they only meet once a semester. So if we send it off in April and meet all of the approvals from within Baruch College by summer, we can present to CUNY Central in the fall and meet their deadline. And that would keep us on track so that we can then get to the state legislature by spring 22.
Our final question, I'm going to ask that members of the administration, including Dr. Eversley, respond to. One student wrote to me that there have recently been several racist Zoom bombings taking place across student clubs at Baruch, and she's wondering what the administration's response will be or has been already.
Does someone else want to take that?
I'm happy to address that somewhat. Unfortunately, there have been some racist Zoom bombings. It's not new. It started actually when we moved online last spring. These are really very upsetting events. They're a form of violence. And we do have a reporting structure in place, which involves the Dean of Students, and then BCTC together with Art Downing, who's the Vice President of Library and Technology, to do two things: to try to track down the student responsible for the Zoom bombing. It's not always a Baruch student. It's sometimes a CUNY student, but it's sometimes not even a CUNY student. So that presents some challenges, and that's done largely through tracking down electronic addresses and trying to figure out the computer system that the student was using. If the student is a CUNY student, and even more so if the student is a Baruch student, we really do have, there is a process of steps that are taken to be in touch with the student, and then to put into place a structure of reprimands and education. And that's largely run through the dean's office. We haven't been 100% successful because not all of those Zoom bombers are CUNY people. Sometimes class information goes out to a broader audience, and it's not possible with our resources to track down the person who does do it. We also have in place counseling for students who want to discuss these issues and who feel hurt and disturbed by them. And faculty are also being guided in terms of best practices for their classes about how to protect the security of their classes so that these incidents aren't repeated. So that's pretty much where things stand. My understanding is that it's gotten better and that the number of incidents has dropped significantly from last spring, but that this continues to be a challenge.
Dean Lang, is there some kind of follow-up that if this student would like to reach out and connect about this incident or incidents that may take place in the future, hopefully not, is there someone that she can contact directly?
A student who is feeling vulnerable or who would like to speak about an incident that hurt them?
The latter.
Yes, so I would recommend that that student reach out to either Brandy Peer or to Dean Art King and the Dean of Students. They're really working closely on these issues.
Thank you, Dean Lang. Dr. Eversley, did you want to say anything on that issue?
No, I was just thinking that I will track down the email addresses and put them in the chat.
Professor Lang, could you tell us how many Baruch students have been caught doing that?
I really can't. I don't have the numbers for that. Yeah, I don't know, but I do know that some Baruch students have been responsible for those events.
Great, thank you, Dean Lang. On a brighter note, I want to draw your attention now to some of the upcoming events that our department is hosting. All of this will be available on our Black and Latino Studies community site. But just to give you sort of a save the date, on February 18th at 6 p.m., I invite you to join Professor Shambe Miles and Professor Rojo Robles and others to celebrate the Afro-Latinx tradition of Carnival.
That's
sponsored.
today.
That's great. Sponsored by ISLA, the Initiative for the Study of Latin America. On February 25th at 1 p.m. is our Globus seminar conversation with Jessica Marie Johnson, Black feminist scholar and author of Wicked Flesh, Black Women, Intimacy, and Freedom in the Atlantic World. February 25th at 5 p.m., the Initiative for the Study of Latin America is hosting an information session on the Fulbright funding for teaching on research in Latin America and the Caribbean. And if you scroll up in the chat earlier, I put the application and information there. On February 26th, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. is the Diversity Career Expo. On February 27th, I'm very proud to announce from 9 to 5, my students will be participating in the celebration of Langston Hughes Day in partnership with the Queens Public Library. Once you're registered for the event, which will be found later on our community site, you'll be able to see videos and listen to recordings of my students reacting, reading, and reciting poems that celebrate Harlem, Langston Hughes, and the Harlem Renaissance. On March 5th at 6 p.m., we have our happy hour community event for faculty who are interested in Black studies, hosted by our colleagues, Marcus Johnson and Erica Richardson, Professors Marcus Johnson and Professor Erica Richardson, my apologies, of the Black Studies Colloquium. I just want to say thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm going to leave you now with Dr. Eversley, Chair of Black and Latino Studies, who will close out the event.
Okay, well, does anybody have any last questions? I will say that we had this open house because the students, many of whom you met today, told us that they needed it. And they told us that we needed to do a better job showing our connection and communicating with them and with each other. And we will take their advice because we see you, we hear you, we do this work for you. And we will do another one. We will do open houses every semester until you tell us to stop. And we're so glad that you showed up. We're so glad that you shared your thinking, your ideas, your suggestions when it came to imagining this major. We're so glad that you took the time out of your crazy busy schedules as honors students, as activists, as student leaders to make presentations, to meet with administrators, and to come together in this moment. So we are really proud of you. We're so glad to have you, and we're so happy to serve you as your teachers, your allies, your recommenders, your champions. And everyone who came to this open house, we are so grateful for you and for your work, for your collaboration, for your friendship, and for your support. Thank you. Thank you for coming.